live from Trinidad and Tobago.
Welcome to Connections 50 Plus Wednesdays live show.
I am Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph. Hi everyone, good evening and welcome to Connections 50 Plus Wednesday Live. And you know when I say everyone in all the Caribbean islands. Now I'm not doing like Terri-Ann and try to call out all the islands, right? Because I don't want to miss out anyone. So welcome. I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus. And as usual with me is my colleague.
Hello, Caribbean. And I'm doing it flush in the west, Belize, in the north, most northerly, Grand Bahama, most easterly, Barbados, and the little rock in the Sea of Oysters. And then the most southern nation of the Caribbean, Guyana, not island. And next week I will know the most southerly town in Guyana, and I'll call that town. Welcome. All of you Caribbean people viewing on Gael, our Facebook friends, and our YouTube family. Wednesday Live. Jennifer, we in December.
Yes, the 1st of December.
And yes, everybody, yes, there's a dashing young man. Yes, he is 50 plus. He don't look like it, but wait.
You know, actually I was wondering, I wonder if he's 50 as yet.
56.
Wow.
Yeah, with a top cut, how much years?
All right, so you will tell us the secret. So yes, we start in December, and December you're hearing all more of the parang. You know, it's time for parang and all the Christmas songs. Actually, over the weekend, while cleaning out and putting away, because I'm a typical Trini for Christmas, putting away. Terri-Ann, I had on all my Christmas music, all the Christmas songs. Soca, I love a soca parang, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So soca parang was it on Saturday while cleaning up. So yes.
Most critically, people need to remember, I mean, nobody could soca parang better than us and get into the whole thing. Like, the guest we have is going to really give us a sense of all of that in terms of how we move. But we have to remember, on a serious side, throughout this year, Jennifer and I have been focusing on having us 50 plus cohort, our 5.8G cohort. Remember who you are, 50 to 80. Yeah. Retirement is a post-80 thing. So you see this 50 to 80, this 30-year period is our second adulthood to do what we want to as we want to. And we've been saying, get ready, because 2021 is our year. And here we are, it's the 2nd of December. And we have to be ready. So while we are soca paranging and getting pay me and getting...
I don't know anything about pay me.
My grandmother used to make a good pay me.
Pay me.
No, we have to remember that this is serious and next year is a different thing. So Jennifer, we have a guest. Who is this gentleman down here?
This gentleman who says he's 56 and looking like 46. You know? And we have with us, and thank you so much, Dave Williams. And Dave is the founder of the Council of Arts, Aesthetics, and Identity, which is a non-profit organization. He's also a commercial writer and a creative consultant. And let me tell you all why we have Dave here today as our guest, not just to us look good, you know, but also because we are focusing this evening on creatives, on the artists and creatives. Because you would see we do have a program out really for creatives and artists. And because of this time, many of you all throughout the Caribbean, right through the world actually, you know, this sector is a sector very much, in problems, in that, you can't have all these shows again then because of the social distancing, all the concerts, everything now is like online, virtual. So we thought, yes, let's have Dave chat with us to give us a better idea of what's happening out there with the creative, with his grouping, what can be done, how we can help, and how we can still at this time enjoy the shows that's being put on. So Dave, welcome again. And just tell us a bit
Thank you.
more about yourself before, we start asking you any questions.
Well, as you're speaking, I'll speak, align myself to the current situation,
Mm-hmm.
with how that has affected me and how I'm trying to respond to it. Um, but first of all, this idea, the term creative is an interesting, very broad term that people are using now. It's a very catch-all kind of term,
Mm-hmm.
and it some people include from software development, law. All of those terms are in the creative industry, right through to visual artists, performers, dancers, etc.,
Right.
etc. So it's sometimes really really broad, and but the so that creative sector has a lot of flexibility. And
Okay.
so a lot of the people, so people that are working in manufacturing and labor and etc., they don't have a lot of choice in the work that they have. But the creative sector, a lot of us have the flexibility still to work and determine how we work, which has always been part of the whole creative. So none of this is really, it's intense, but it's not really new to people in the, particularly in the arts, because we've always had to move, how it hang it swing. You're going with, you're interpreting the world as it is. You're trying to see how the world is so you can bring it across in your work so you're relevant. So um, it creative people, I think, for a good part of the sector, we we eat stress, This is this is what we consume to make the work, to make the material, so that the rest of the society can kind of identify, well, it's not me alone dealing with this. Look, this is being expressed in literature, it's being expressed in theater, in writing. So it art, that art thing kind of helps ground a society. You're not alone struggling. Look, other people, they get it. Look, I see it in the work there.
Yeah.
So um, artists don't really thrive in easy times, because and if the time's easy, they go out and mess up their whole lives to make something nice to write about. You know, Van Gogh, cut off your ears, you're going crazy, all them kinds of things. So um, so that's I try to see it in that perspective. It's what we were made for, to deal with challenges, and in doing that, help the society in seeing that we all, the kinds of pressure maybe we all under, or ways of viewing stuff. Me now, the industry has slowed down because I work a lot in advertising, and so that industry dive because organizations, businesses, the first thing they tend to do is cut the advertising budget.
Yeah.
I also work in the performing arts a lot, particularly dance and stage and etc. And we have no audience there,
Yeah.
right? Um, so what I did myself in terms of the creative consultant part, the commercial writing, I came to this company that I am in now after being, we locked down and they're home and, you're trying to collect yourself. So I came to Advanced Dynamics and I just basically told them, I'm here. And I kind of just showed up into people's place and I do anything from sweeping the floor to directing shoots and some, I don't have a fixed salary, but when money is made, I get, something.
Yes.
So I offer my services You go, basically hit, when the going gets tough, the tough have to get going.
Yes.
So, and it's interesting because, I mean, I'm running a long time talking there, but
No, this is why you're here.
a lot of the projects that I'm working on now involves translating stuff, events that people would have done live. So they have AGMs, they have, I worked on TEDx, we're working on stuff for a couple other banks. So meetings and stuff that would have happened live, to translate those into events for online to keep people's attention, because it's difficult to keep people's attention online. They could go cook, they could all kinds of things, they could put you on mute, they go on, you don't know they're there, that kind of thing. That so interestingly, it's created a kind of shift in career focus path in kind of adapting events and stuff now for online. And like I told you earlier, even Coco Dance Festival that I'm a co-founder and director of, we did our first year online. And interestingly, we had participation from 9 countries, because usually people would have to fly here.
Yeah.
We would have to make arrangements for hotels and all kinds of, etc., transport, keep them, safe and entertained, and bring in lighten people, etc., and do all that kind of. It's brilliant. But this year, online, we had 9 countries participate. Countries as far as Latvia,
Nice.
and they submitted their material by video. And I think is the best margin we had in terms of income profit, because usually when we're done with Queen's Hall, we end up, you're close to So yeah, it really is, as you say, the new normal, and the new normal is not necessarily a bad place. It's causing us to really take a hard look at what we've been doing and ignoring the technologies that had been there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so
Dave, I really like what you say, because Jan and I have been looking at creatives and looking also at different sectors. We looked at farmers, we looked at business people, all kinds. And we at Connections 50 Plus, we talk about transitions. You're moving from that space where you will in service to others to now getting a chance, exhale, I can be myself. And I love what you said, that the creatives eat stress, and that's their food. And if they're not in stress, they really don't do wonderful things. Because just this morning, I posted something on Facebook, and I told people, I hope people realize that Carnival 2021 has started. And it was especially looking at Boogsy's arrangement with 691 panelists from all around the world, that we have our creatives really, they're really now oozing. And all the new music that has been produced, normally when the season starts, who is that? What is that? Nothing bad has come out yet.
Yes.
So the creatives, I think, in this pandemic have really jumped forward. And in the context of 50 Plus, I just love your journey, because you've always been a creative. You've always earned your living in that field. So I want to ask a question. You've made a shift about COVID, and that's one thing. But you've been a performer, you've been a dancer, creative writer, and so on. As you're now 56, 4 years short of 60, which is going to be a significant transition, physically, mentally, all kinds of things. And you're in this world with technology and so on. How are you seeing the next 4 years? Or was your 50 to 55 different to the 56 to 60?
it I'll use dance. In dancing, right? You start off and you're learning, and then you're learning and you're learning and you're learning, and then you're performing and you're performing somebody else's work, and you work with other people for a pretty long time, and then you start to make your own work. And
Mhm.
once you start to make your own work, you become a teacher. So because if I have to choreograph a dance now and dancers are in it, I can't give half to the dancers because the choreography is my work. So everything I know has to go into guiding those dancers without any kind of restraint or shortchanging.
Mhm.
So I think like that continuum in the art world, in performing arts more, because you have to, when you reach a certain age, other people have to realize your work, your vision.
Yeah.
Um, so the um, transitioning thing, I think, is important that we um, start to think about how now we are not recipients of stuff anymore. And even that's why I founded that organization, the Council for Arts, Aesthetics and Identity. We become the providers of opportunities for for people, because you can't get anymore, right?
Gotten and you've built. It's time to now give back.
Yeah, and hopefully you get replenished in some kind in ways, whether it's spiritually or financially or something, that you're replenished. But you really can't get out there and perform your work anymore like you used to.
Yeah, but
So
do
you
it. So
yeah, you have to
yeah.
really now start to create the opportunities for others.
And Dave, this is what we say. You
Mhm.
move off from the second act stage and you're
Mhm.
going on to the third act stage.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And that stage for you, you have done all that you did then.
Mhm, mhm.
Now, so you give, so now what you're doing is really helping those that coming on that stage
Right.
to really
Mhm.
do their own thing with your guidance, you know, with
Yes.
your knowledge, your skill, experience. And that is what it's all about. And that is what we look at in terms of transitioning smoothly,
Mhm, mhm,
you
mhm,
know, using your skills, using your talent, and recognizing maybe you can't no longer jump high to the ceiling and back when you're dancing.
mhm.
Your legs cannot stretch that,
And,
stretch like that anymore.
and it's something you kind of have to, I guess, constantly be coming to terms with it.
Uh-huh.
Um, that what you can and cannot do, and what you have to now start to try to do.
Mhm.
So it's not, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. I guess that's why you all are on. If it was easy, you all would have nothing to talk about.
Yeah. So, and it's about being willing to release,
Mhm,
recognizing this is the stage you are,
mhm,
releasing and moving forward.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
I think one of the things too that, you've begun to do it because as you're
mhm.
talking there, I'm thinking about, and I'm, I'm going into another relatively creative way, sports. Zinedine Zidane becoming coach manager of Real Madrid, Frank Lampard
Right.
in Chelsea. I have some football fanatics and Champions League going on. So these things in the head all
Yeah.
the time. So you have now moved on to doing your foundation, and and I'd like you to tell us more about what that foundation does, and in particular, to put yourself in a mode. You were the dancer, you were on the second act stage, you were on stage, and so on.
Mhm,
And there's a thrill that goes there. But now you've come off the stage and you are sort of like given force to push others forward.
mhm.
What is that transition for you? How do you feel in this role compared to how you felt in the when you were on the stage and now you're setting the stage?
Right. Well, you only know it now, because you didn't know it then when you're young and you're just bounding or jumping high and there. You didn't know, right? But now you know that there is this difference. that you have to deal with. And interestingly, which is why I say education is sometimes such a waste of time. A lot of it doesn't help us to deal with, yeah, to deal with the matter, the business of life, relationship, love, death, age. It don't really prepare you. So you're there like if you're the first person to do it, And I suppose that's why this program is good
Yes.
to kind of
Prepare
iterate and say
persons.
that,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is what this is. Because you're not prepared for it, and now you have to just kind of go through like I'm the first person to get older, right? And it's not.
And there's
So
so much beauty that you can do and so much
mm,
value that you can create in a
right,
different way and different form.
yep, and it's
At
not
the heart of the question I'm asking you. Mhm.
mhm. the yeah, yeah, and to start to I guess is assess. You have to assess in a kind of a asset. What you have going forward,
Yep.
what it is you have, and a lot of it too is what you need to leave behind,
Yep. What you need
to
to
drag
release.
to
Mm-hmm.
drag behind. That's you said that earlier. What you need, because you can't drag there's a lot of things that you could be dragging around to unpack, to leave behind, and to put room for new stuff. But it really is a challenge, because sometimes you have to just be very so conscious um, that you're at this stage where you you've absorbed so much from society, and now you have to kind of really kind of squeeze yourself to put some back. Otherwise, you could just. I mean, I mean, to some people that would come naturally, but you have to be consciously dealing with, how do I do this, or how do I do this, or how do I guide, or how do I speak better to encourage, or maybe even create a discipline, or whatever. How do you do it better? And sometimes you feel bad at doing it, trying, but
Mhm. And
that's.
in that creating and finding more,
Hmm.
how as a creative,
Hmm.
we are all to some extent creating, yeah? Because as you say, no
Everybody,
matter where you are, to me,
what makes you
the,
human.
the creative element, once you are doing something and there is a change, there's an element of creation. As you said, there's a whole spectrum. And many people who leave the second act stage and they go into the third act, or they're reluctant to go into the third act, is because they believe that no one will notice me. I will not be missed, and I will have nothing around me, which is tied in, I think, to, and Jen, we talk about this a lot, legacy, you know? So in terms of you as a creative, and you as you said, the spectrum continues. So you go from the performer to the choreographer to the teacher to having your foundation and so on.
Mhm.
If we were to ask you, Dave Williams,
Mhm.
how do you as a creative see your legacy being left? How is it being formed? What would you say?
That's to tell it. Oh gosh, how to say that without being too. But
You can be two.
I it is
No problem being two.
two or four. All right. Um, to attempt to we talk about the ease of doing business, which is something I kind of have a little problem with, and we think it's a thing that happens in business. So it's something I thought about. I did an MBA this year, Yeah. Um, so this ease of the next thing to I decided to,
To go back
do it.
to do some more
Yeah,
studies.
yeah, yeah. And that was after only O levels, huh? And so, so this ease of doing business thing that we talk about so much, I see it that people think it's a business function, but when we think about, how people leave our presence, people entering our presence and they leave our presence better. I think that's the ease of doing business, because I suspect that a lot of times you go here and it's so hard to get stuff done, and you want to like just to do simple transactions. And I wonder if people are thinking, people who just come into my presence, the periphery of my presence, should leave better. And if we could all kind of allow people to move on better, but sometimes here in our, what did I just go through there? Oh gosh, I don't, where's that? Wait, you know. So the legacy thing, I think legacy is a daily business where people, people that come into your presence and leave for even very short moments or something, that they they leave better, and hopefully you leave better too. So is that, just that kind of thinking, I think is where I haven't thought about a long-term legacy kind of place yet.
But it's being built day by day. And I
I
think then that's an important part of the whole transition and recognizing that you're moving. You're going to something else.
Yeah.
No, Dave, I want to go look more in, chat with you more about your colleagues in the business.
Right.
I love your thinking and being able to release and understanding the need that, okay, you're going to pass on skills, etc. But in listening to some of the colleagues chat, whether they, I should say most of them were entertainment at this time. I have found the younger ones thinking is that they are excited that the pressure driving them. All the creative things, a lot of new things coming out, and they seem to be very excited about this time. As you said, the stress driving them. The other hand, hearing a few of the older ones, the 50 plus, which I was paying attention to, their complaint is, times are so hard, they're not seeing ways to earn an income, they can't, do their arts, etc. Is there really, have you seen on the ground there, seen a difference between the thinking with the younger creatives as against the older ones during this time?
To me, I've had the kind of slightly opposite experience in terms of young and old.
Okay.
See a lot of older people trying to really kind of figure it out.
Okay.
What was next, and being a lot more conscious, because I suspect that as you're older, your time becomes, is a very valuable kind of thing, and you don't have that energy like if you're a dancer to jump and spring and people to hire you. You're more exposed to the risks. Younger people, I'm really that drive to take over and pull this thing down the road to tell people, get out the way, we go do this, is not something I'm seeing, because I know that when we were young, we were anxious to tell everybody, get out the way, we could do this.
Yeah.
And even at when we were back at Service Commission, they used to call us Youth Quake, right? Right. And you always thought that these older people need to get out of the way because you could do it better.
Right.
Which is a normal young animal kingdom thing. You had to go and dethrone that old guy then take over. So I don't know, which is why you're seeing a lot of older people getting rehired and brought back from retirement and all that kind of thing. And a lot of younger people, there's my people, no young people, there's my people. But sometimes you have to drive them, you have to push so hard to drive them. As opposed to, I suspect, I feel that I should be pulled along by them.
You know, I'm happy to hear that. Maybe those who I'm looking at, and this is on Facebook, the very energetic ones
Uh-huh.
that have their different programs between over the weekends. Okay, so I guess that is more in my face. I am very happy to hear you say though that in your experience, because you're out there, you actually in the whole in the sector, very active. So I am happy to hear you say that you, from what you are observing, that the older ones are really, you know, they know their time is limited. Well, not so much limited, but yeah, they take it more seriously. They're
Yeah.
looking at it in a more serious way and finding things that they can do. And when you mentioned that you're also a creative consultant, I guess that is another way for the 50 plus creatives to look to pass on their knowledge and think of ways that they can do things differently now, pulling on their experience and skills from way back on that. So that's good news. That's very good news, you know.
And
Perhaps
like
some of the younger ones, the older ones don't have an adult to subsidize them. So they have to be continuing moving. Many of the younger ones, they have to subsidize them.
They have to find their money.
Yeah, I was watching TV, American TV, and they were talking about veterans and the skills that the kind of discipline, the kind of skills that these people can now return to society, bring back to society after, you know, being abroad or being in the military. Similarly, I think that people in the creative sector have a lot that they can bring to organizations, and I think that even us as creative people, like I've come and I've put myself in, although it's in the creative sector, I just kind of walk in the door and sit down and start to come to work every day, you know, right? With no idea of a salary or anything. But you know, I'm more active, and now there are more opportunities outside than if you're inside as a freelance person to come out in the road. You know, opportunity is not going to come crawling through your bedroom window. So um, that I think that creative people have to put themselves out because we have a wealth of different experiences that other people, and sometimes it's not always about the money, but just go and say, hey, I can help you do this, or you know, I know how to do this, and you know, I could come in, I could do this, you know, offer yourself.
So you see the need to for a lot more collaboration.
Well, that is one of the best words. Um, that word is a heck of a thing, and I don't like to say what I'm going to say. The phrase is phrasing, but I think that our culture, that collaboration thing, is the teeth pulling of our culture. We are afraid to collaborate because like people going to take your stuff or take it, etc. People going to take your stuff or compete, so we can compete. And even when we compete, we don't just compete, you know, we want to compete and kind of mash you up, eh? So we
Annihilate,
want to compete
annihilate.
and leave your label. Yeah, right, right. So at that collaboration thing, how the skills to collaborate and the willingness to collaborate is, I think, something we really kind of, you know, really need to work to real spend some time as our culture working on. It's too few people to be fighting to fight up with one another. Too few.
You said something that was so very important, and I think it's a critical lesson going. It's not a lesson; it's the essence of how you transition. That thing about putting yourself out there and seeing what is and where you can fit. It will be in a completely different sphere, a completely different space, because your talent is yours. And I think, you know, people don't know what their talent is. And I suppose that's why we do all these assessments.
Yeah.
And they think that to go forward, I have to do what I was doing in the past. And if I don't do that, I can't do anything. But here you are. You've come and shown up. All right, what do you need done? And you discover ways to apply your talents, which is, I think, at the essence of the transition and recreating yourself and having a grand time in the next stage of life.
Yeah, but and finding a way for it to sustain, I mean, to be sustainable, to sustain,
Yes.
because a lot of the skills that we have are hard to put a price on, you know, but a lot of us can't really exist without doing them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, without doing those skills, I don't know, you know, how, if people can hold back on their creativity, how do you kind of, because it's what you do.
Yes.
How
Yeah.
to hold back on that because there is no money or because there is no that, find ways to, I think, introduce those skills into areas or to people that are doing other things, and to offer yourself service really, and trying to find a means to make it get you some earn in some income.
And Dave, what you did also, you went in, as you said, you realized that being home, sitting down, watching four walls, nothing gonna happen. You have to get out there. You chose to go into a company that you know very active right now and doing things that within your industry, right? But what I get to from you chatting, you didn't go in with any ego. You went in just open, knowing that I am Dave Williams, not I am this creative director with company, with an NGO, with, you went in saying, hey, I know I can offer with my skills, my vast skills and experience, I know I can do something to make it worthwhile in your company.
Yeah, and I need to be somewhere.
Yeah,
I need to be somewhere. So I need, yeah.
So when you do that and you get there, so many opportunities could come with you being there. And you also have that confidence knowing that whatever comes,
figure a way.
You will find a way to do it. And I think in persons who are looking in terms of transition and at this time in the new normal, that's what you have to do. Now, you mentioned just now, and I don't know if I got it right, as a creative person, your mind always going, and thinking, where do I channel these ideas that come in to me? All right. But do you find it could block too, because you want me, okay, so you into dance, but you have a little more, not a little more, you have a lot more skills than maybe some others, okay? But if, let's say, I am a dancer and for years I've been dancing, I'm great at it. When I'm thinking, my thoughts more in how can I create a new dance, etc. Do you think it would be very difficult for them to say, well, okay, to switch from that being a dancer to something else?
It could be because sometimes like you take a lot of time to build those skills, and it changes your mind and your body, and your whole being changes, like in that, you physically you change. Even you're making film, you will never be able to watch a TV commercial or TV show and just sit down and then let's enjoy it. You're watching everything inside of there because you're revved up that way. So it how people but I think is to kind of engage the idea that to be creative is when you kind of have to keep kind of going into maybe different areas to
Yeah.
find, little new ways, because um, that's, I think, essentially the creative thing when you're going into to blank, like a blank canvas, and you have to come up with something to put on it. You're
Mm-hmm.
always working with blanks in some area. So is so people, artists like everybody else, you could get stuck in your own self definition, your
Yeah.
definition of yourself. But I think it's to for everybody, not only artists, to attempt little new things, because I was having a conversation with my sister the other day, and I said we have to do something, because I could you know I could write your obituary now, and you could write mine, and we could put it on. Then it may not change, because we're not changing. We could we could write your
Absolutely.
obituary and put it down there, because I know you since you born. You know me since when, and I don't know that I seeing anything new.
Mm-hmm.
So what we doing,
Mm-hmm.
right? To make the challenge of
Yeah.
rewriting the obituary that you could put on there and wait and wait. I mean, so we could have that kind of conversation without it being morbid. But is basically that, whether you write your obituary already and you're just waiting for somebody
Yeah.
to tell it, to read it.
And
You know.
I think the people who successfully transition,
Mm,
and they have to be tapping into that creative process, because if you think of an artist, any artist,
mm,
what they were, if they're still doing today, what they were doing 10 years ago, they gone through.
yes.
As an artist, you're talking about what they in past tense. But
Yeah.
there's so many people who are not in the obvious creative sector. They are doing today just what they were doing 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And Jan, I think those are the ones who, when 50 arrives or 55 arrives, and God have mercy, 60 arrives, they confused, and it's because
Yes.
they're not evolving, and they're not
Mhm, mhm.
learning new things and trying new things and creating new things and experiences, and that may be the key to a successful transition.
But here interesting thing to turn the thing around. A lot of people say, the artists and them and the creatives, and they want and they want and they want and they get so much, and then they get a Napa and they get a this, and they always want and they want and they want. But um, artists and art patronage have
Yeah.
existed since the beginning of this idea of art. From Da Vinci and all of that, they had people sponsoring them that they could take risks that
Yeah.
everyday people is like research and development. I always say you take some risks, some things don't work, but there's a bunch of money that people put into research and development, and that a society puts into artists, because they go and take some strange risks that
Mm-hmm.
other people mightn't take. But yeah, look, the money take, go, you go. And some of the stuff that artists discover gets to trickle into the society, just like science.
A
You
lot
know,
of this stuff, a lot of this
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
it trickles into the society to change the ways that not only we listen to music or something, but the way we see ourselves and our own ability.
How we dress, how we eat, how we
Yeah.
talk, how we
And
entertain
yeah,
ourselves. All
Oh, yes.
that
and
is
to,
all of it.
and to take and to take some more risks now, to be a little more confident. Oh, look, that idiot, they're doing that, so maybe I could go and ask for a raise now. My boss, because look, this idiot here doing that kind of thing. So so the place of the and the role of artists in society, where they interlock, is that societies have to kind of fund that R&D thing, so that these people, you push them. Okay, you go, you do it, you do that, and you go, and let me see what happens. So you
Yeah.
go, look some money, and you see, not, oh, that ain't work. We ain't gonna do that, you know. But it's that relationship, that the funding of arts and sciences, that is vital to society kind of moving forward.
Absolutely.
And people's own ability to take to be more confident, to step out of them, to step out more. If artists are not doing it, then a whole part of the society is where do we get the guidance to do that? You know?
That's so true. Yeah.
That's the key to our diversified economy. And
Well,
I always say that, instead of spending money on all kinds of projects, just put a lump sum, identify about 1,000 people and top in the things, give them amount every month, and so just go and do. Just do, like you have elite athletes and so on. And that's how you really recreate yourself,
And society.
It's so neat. I think it is happening in front of us. I really think with this pandemic and everybody being shut down, and now everyone has to come up with a new way to do what they were doing before. And if they can't come up with a new way, they have to find something else to do. And so everybody has to change. And you're getting so many things that are happening. It's different. We just living differently and expressing differently. And it will be interesting when we think back, of what exactly, say in 2022. 2021 will be the get yourself here. I don't think we know right now what's going on.
We hope get yourself for that.
I was talking to a friend who was talking about starting to travel again. And she was looking at a trip in February 2022. She said, I think I could go then. I said, are you crazy? That will be the carnival after the no carnival. I said, that will be when you see us redefine ourselves. You want to be out at Trinidad at that time. In that sense, I think we will all transition. And I think this discussion is really, I love it because it's putting in the foundation and the anchor, the role of creatives who we can tend to see as what they're doing.
Because I see this pandemic during this time. This is really the time for creators. I am not one to too much television and all that. But let me tell you, so I'm on the computer a lot. I actually during this time, that's how I can tell you about the young. Before, if you ask me who's a young artist out there, I haven't got a clue. Serious, I'm telling you, and my girls will tell you, to ask you, point out the most popular artists, and they say who is that? Now I know what Voice doing here, what Nadia doing here, and I find it so entertaining.
Themselves, yes. Yep.
Then you have the foreign artists, all the shows. Yep. On Friday, I'm busy, and I am really enjoying all the things. From the artists there to the museums, they have the virtual museums. You could get a tour through the museums. You can, exposure to all the things all over the world. So I have to decide, well, okay, do I listen to the music here today? Do I look at art? Yep. Do I look at this? Do I just look at, I like comedies. A lot of talk shows like what we're doing here, because that inspires me too when I'm listening. Yeah. And this is the time, So I see a lot of room. I am very positive about 2021. I think this experience, we have to come out of it, definitely.
Yeah, we can't stay here.
Yeah. So 2021, I think the experience that we had from all the weather, we learned from the negatives, okay? So all the challenges that we're going through right now, I think a lot of it now come like, okay, we know we wear the mask, not a fuss again, all these things we get used to. I see 2021, especially for the artists, for the creatives, very, very positive. I say there's a nice pathway, moving forward. What I was chatting with Terri-Ann about it earlier, and we just chatted about it. I just sense that maybe there, and I say this because we offer that type of assessment to help not just the artists, the people in transition, to get like clarification in terms of what else I can do, what are the skills I have that I haven't been brought forward. Yeah, it's still dormant, but you could unearth it and do something else, whether in addition, combined. That's something I see maybe could help, you know, people transition or pivot, as they say now, go into a next direction. I definitely see the need, and this is something we at CONEC-TIONS, Terri-Ann, I talk about a lot, and you mentioned it again, the collaboration. That, and I agree with you, is a challenge in many sectors. We use ourselves as an example, because when we collaborated and have found it, I mean, really happy, and we see it so successful. So we know it would work with people with an open mind and not be in that selfishness that you want to shine and the other person shouldn't shine, and you know more, or you are higher in your area than the other person, and that sort of thing. So I see with that happening 2021, yeah, we're gonna be just going forward very happy and successful.
We have very little choice, you know.
That's it.
Because as you were talking, we are now competing on a world open market, the whole global market. We are competing with people who are not working on Broadway or West End and Hollywood.
Yes.
And this is what is going on here. We are competing now for people's attention, that they can choose when they go to their phone or their laptop.
Yes.
Choose things from anywhere on the planet. So we have to really become global, real global citizens now. You know, in terms of, we can't be saying that, well, you know, we are a young country and there's an excuse for anything. Everybody now.
The people who say that aren't successful. And nobody knows about them. And that's why they don't know about them, because they say that. Because I am thinking that we have so many world-class performers in all spheres. And I'm trying to think of one who does not collaborate.
We have, well, that's the good thing about the arts, and why it's a good thing, why we need it.
Yeah, in most spheres. And you know, I think and I bring this point to point out to the ones who not getting through. You know, the ones who are finding themselves stagnant and why are not getting through. Probably, most likely, you are refusing to collaborate. And if you're looking at somebody or something or some NGO or some nonprofit or some foundation and find that, boy, how they always getting through, how they always there.
What are they doing?
They are probably working together with others and collaborating
and learning.
And if I were to say exactly a lot of cross learning and mutual support, I'm trying to think of one successful entity or person that doesn't collaborate. And I know of a lot of people who catching their tail and can't make a breakthrough to help themselves. And the one thing that is common to all of them is they don't collaborate. They just want to go it alone. They don't want to help from this, and they don't want to share that.
Yeah, and that collaboration thing is really, I think, the most powerful tool that we have. Because like Jennifer says, you can't shine all the time. But the thing is, you have to allow people to shine in collaborations, and you have to not just allow them by just say, all right, well, let me sit back, but you have to push them to more.
But energy goes in waves. So
Mhm.
when my wave is down, yours is up. And when if you look at fireflies in a field, it always lit, but somebody going on and off, on and off. But if you're on your own.
Exactly. Yeah, and that thing to learn as well, because now working here, I'm learning now about, well, like sometimes like carrying bag and all kinds of things. So learning what kind of cable is this, and someone desk here, what is this, all of these things that I don't know. Look, my light flash out, right? But so to always be learning,
Curious.
uh,
Always be curious.
yeah, and from people around you, and I guess the challenge sometimes is to have the humility to not
Yes.
know, to just not know, and be to trust somebody else to um, show or to share, to trust that. You know.
Especially when you're going into a realm that is unknown to everybody. I don't know how some people in this pandemic season, this this season where everybody has to stop and everybody has to rethink how you step forward. I cannot understand people who go in it alone still.
It's hard. It's hard. That's hard.
What you doing?
That's that's hard.
You,
That's hard. Yeah.
you're not going to make it through 2021. You're going to be left
Mm-mm.
behind. You've got to just overcome yourself, get out of your own way, and link with others and join forces and go forward. And I think that is so important for our cohort,
Mhm.
because each of us have such tremendous skills that if we band together, it's even so much more important. I mean, if you're on the stage and you're kicking your foot up high, you could say, yes, I am a star and all that. But when you cannot go that high, but you have the experience and you have the knowledge and wisdom of how it's really done, you get
Mhm.
together with others and
Yeah.
you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
You know?
A young lady was telling me the other day, the old people, and it's time for them to pass the baton. I said,
Yep.
well, I don't think there's any baton. I think we all have to pick up and run and try to get across that line together. We all just have to pick up and run, because nobody's going to just give you a baton,
Yeah.
right? Like that. And, so we all don't have, we all have to pick up and go,
Yep.
go down,
We
go.
move on and we do things in a different way, which leaves a space, and the young ones occupy it and they do it in the way that they do. I don't think it's a relay. I don't think it's a
But
relay.
we have to together, because old and young have to coexist. Generations is
Yeah.
all moving, a bunch of people moving.
Dave,
So,
which generation existed where the old and the young were in sync?
um,
The older and the younger, thank you very much. The older and the younger.
right. But I think that we have a strange time now, because people are being raised by the machines that we have now. When when we were younger, we were actually raised by people,
Yeah.
and we saw on some TV,
Mm-hmm.
but there were actually people that you were there looking at, and just the people that you could touch,
Yeah.
real people that you know on the street, on the who, on the wherever, real,
This is the young people's real people now. This is
right,
their teacher.
right,
Yeah.
This is their teacher and their friends.
right. So those generation gaps, and now that people can be living in bubbles, so you have your networks of your pods of people,
Mm-hmm.
and now remember we all used to watch one TV station, so we all used to be on the same page a lot, but now everybody on multiple pages
Yeah.
with their own, like look at Trump and all these people that, like, the Democrats didn't know that people were on that page. They thought they would have win,
Yeah.
but there was no, it had a whole other page going on.
That's why I say it's not a relay.
Right.
You on your pod, you move to a different thing and something else takes your place. It might look nothing like you. But whoever comes on next, so the young people, when they come on, we are teaching children now on this.
Right,
So
yeah.
that teacher to touch is gone. So
Yeah.
this is what is going to be their reality. So when we move on, we can't look back expecting to see something looking like what we left. It's going to be very different. And I think that's one of the things that's exciting to me about the transition, not worrying about what's there, knowing that they're going to sort it out, but being more concerned with what am I creating for myself going forward. You know,
So
like looking away for Christmas.
Yeah, but I hope, I mean, you know, to not drag out, but I hope that this medium doesn't become what children learn by as a dance person, because if you try to teach dance online, you try that. You try that. And when you have to correct somebody's hands to tell them, look at the, and you have to touch them and you have to poke them and you have to say fix here and fix here, and you have to walk around a human to see them, and you have to touch them.
But they suppose you have to
hold their, you have to hold their feet.
But Dave, is already happening, let me just tell you.
I know, but I hope that there's some things that are human, that are tactile. There's that experiment that they did with the monkeys, and they made a wireframe with the food, and the chimp could have gone to the wireframe and gotten the milk, but the chimp rather stay with the warm, not wireframe one with no food, and die.
But what we're looking at,
human warmth.
the expectation would be different. Your idea of the dance may be that. They would know that kind of dance. They would only know the dance that they will learn from watching the teacher on the screen.
I hope there's some things that we struggle to not let just technology take away from us. I hope there's some things that are there that work. Otherwise, we'd never get on a plane again.
Well,
something else will emerge. Something, and that's the excitement. Something else will emerge.
But I think that the excitement is into discovering really there are things that matter, and what we're willing to fight for.
Yeah.
You know, what we're willing to fight and hold, and what we're willing to jettison. But there are things that are really kind of, you know, nice about humanity.
Yeah, we love differently. There's someone I care for deeply. I haven't seen her since May.
Watch and see when you when you only bounce up again, see what happened. You wouldn't say back home and we talk by that screen. Watch and see what's going to happen.
It'll be different.
Different. Yeah. Jennifer.
Yes, we are that time.
We've been chatting for an hour.
God.
So we had that time, Dave, really the conversation and helping us to understand to what is happening in the creative, which to me has been very positive coming from you, Dave. You know, very, very positive, very hopeful. I see a lot happening. You know, I congratulate you so much for that step you have taken, and think that's a good example for those who are listening to say, oh, you know, we can do that. We could probably look to see, let us offer ourselves in, you know, different ways. So this has been a great, great conversation. I want to remind our audience about CONEC-TIONS 50 Plus upcoming forum. And we have it for artists and creatives to take action and, you know, for 2021, and we are having it on Wednesday the 9th and Tuesday the 10th. You would see the flyer up and give us a call. Yeah.
Continue to evolve. It's been the thing that has taken us forward since DOT. We continually evolve, and different things cause the evolution. And I think it's an exciting time. I think you're a great model of what this transition is, and transition is just like another phase, another thing. There's a life. So present yourself, show up, and let's see what happens. And that's fantastic. So congratulations also,
And
Dave.
with that mindset, you'll keep being young. You know, always look 10 years younger than you really are.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
You are welcome. Great.
So to our viewers across the Caribbean and across the world, our time is up. So this has been a wonderful evening of Wednesday Live. So we see you all.
And we're saying bye for now. Right? See you all.
50 Plus Tribe and followers from TNT and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus Wednesday Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like and share our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback.
Bye for now.